Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kirusho here, and now, before we do begin, let us give a brief little review. In the last part, a number of events have happened. Now, we had Deku and his group. Deku's group, they have been through quite a lot. They were mourning the loss of three people. Mr. Stain, Ochako, and Jiro. Deku saw Ochako get killed right in front of him by a smart zombie. One who was riding on a giant spider the size of a semi-truck. It encountered another zombie inside the tunnel. They ran and Stain stayed to fight. However, whenever they got back through, Deku saw the smart zombie that Stain was fighting kill Ochako right in front of him. He then put 6 rounds into his head after running it over. And they got Ochako's body back to the manor and buried. Jiro was left to die at UA because of Todoroki. He dropped her right in the hallway and ran. She was covered in acid. He didn't think she'd survive, but Mina brought her back to the manor. She has fresh clothes, new bandages, and a bite mark that Mina left to show everything. The fact that Mina didn't flat out eat Jiro, let alone hurt her, she took care of her and even fed her, that doesn't make sense. Deku also got to talk to her. Mina made things simple. Every single zombie in the city knows exactly where he is. Every single smart zombie can see the threads that lead straight to him. And if they act on those threads, he will either be drugged to the pit by force or brought in because of a zombie. It's simple. She knows that he can hear it in his head. She's heard it too. There's that voice that just doesn't want to stay away. Like somebody is drilling a hole straight into your head. And they just want to suck everything out of you. Make sure that you aren't you anymore. Put something else in your place. She gets it. She gets like that whenever she's hungry. And Izuku, very clearly, is no longer human. From what she could tell, if Deku can hear it, it might already be too late. And Deku, he tried to fire at her running off back into the forest. And Jiro right now is trying to recover after her few days of being with Mina. And the group, they've got a lot going on. They were not in very good spirits, but right now they are all on high alert. Everybody is trying to make sure that Mina does not come back to the manor. She is a quirked zombie who can talk and think. Fuck that. They are not dealing with that type of shit. If they can avoid it, they'd like to, they'd love to. But right now, they're not sure. 2, 3 days. They begin to pass. And Mina has not returned. But Deku does still have to go through his mind. Everything she's talked about. Jiro has come out of her room. She's been coming out at night, trying to avoid everybody. And he can't blame her. Whenever he got back, he wanted to stay in his room and hide. He didn't tell anybody about it, but once he hid in the shower, he could still feel the blood in his body, covering it, against his skin. He still remembers shaking and sweating, thinking about what they injected him with. And at certain points, he was craving it. He wanted to have it run through his system again. Time passes, and your mind just goes places. You're not there. You forget how fucked the world has become. It was like that for a while. And he can't imagine what's going through her mind right now, especially because she's probably in a lot of pain. And currently Deku is walking down the hallway. Right now him, watching Momo, go to actually turn and close the door. her walking down the hallway and meeting Izuku, bringing her hand up in front of him and talking about it. He probably might not want to talk with her. She's not doing well. Hmm? Has she been okay? I mean, as okay as she can be. I mean, her injuries are almost a week old. It's concerning. It's probably more than that. I mean, sorry, my mind's all confused. I've got a lot. Actually, I wanted to talk to you while you're here. Are you okay? No, I've been stressed out and I have been doing a little, you know, drinking. But that's not the point. Izuku, I don't mean to pry into who you're involved with, but um whenever Mina stopped by, Nedre was wearing your shirt. Hmm? Oh, um, was she? Yeah. And I'm not gonna lie, I didn't see Nedre go back to her room the night before. Then again, I don't think I saw you either. That there's, hmm, I'm sure there might be. So, can I ask you anything before I talk to those two about what you're doing? Okay, there's an explanation for this. Is there? Because from what I can tell, those two girls are involved with you, and you're two-timing them. That's not it. Really, it's not it. So what is it then? They know about it. They know about it. Really, they do. Oh God, I think I don't. Okay then. I actually believe you, and that's. Hmm. I'm gonna go talk to Nejire. I'd probably suggest Setsuna. Hmm? Yeah. Nejire and her. They're sort of friends, I guess. It's weird. It's weird. Yeah, it looks weird, Izuku. Her to turn and going to make her way off. Because right now she has a lot she wants to talk to somebody about. Because some of this she can believe, but a lot of it she doesn't want to believe. And currently Izuku does a walk over to the door, bring his hand up, and knocking on it. And currently Jiro does just not sit there. Right now her lying under her bed and with a lot going through her mind. She doesn't want anybody around. She doesn't want anybody to see her. Anybody to just be here. Her skin still burns. Her body doesn't feel right. She's just in a lot of pain, and even these painkillers aren't helping. She she's worried. But at the same time she's relieved to finally be back. Relieved to be here. But she's felt sick about everything. She's just not able to it's it's a lot. Currently, her laying there under her bed, and under her eyes, the Yuki's don't turn. Deku knocking on her door and asking Jiro if he can talk with her for a minute. Her gonna actually somewhat roll over under her bed and stare at the door. Her thinking about a lot. Some of the things Mina said, they make sense. Some of them don't. And as much as she does hate to admit it, she wants to escape reality right now. Get away from a lot. Focus on a few things. She is happy that Momo checks up on her, brings her food, but sometimes she's just not that hungry. And right now, they're actually Jiro, who does not crawl out on her bed. Her expressing to Izuku. She's coming to the door now. Her walking over, pulling it open, and going to turn around. Her going to walk back over to her bed and tell Izuku about how she doesn't want him to look at her. Deku walking in and telling Jiro he can understand it. He has a lot of scars he'd rather people not see. Sure. Sure, that's why. Mina said a lot about you. Her turning around and looking at Deku, talking about it. Mina said he was special. She said he could walk right into the hive. She just doesn't know. Not even just that. She talked about Kirishima. She knew him. She just doesn't know. She knows other people like her. She's not the only one around. It's not good either. She just. She is panicking and she doesn't know how to focus, how to think, how to figure this all out. It's not good. And currently Deku does walk over. Him sitting down on the bed and telling her that he got that from Mina too. Hmm? You did? Yeah. Listen, there's a lot happening. I have an idea. But at the same time, I'm not sure. The idea is to send something into the hive. Send a robot in. But that's the problem. There's a spot I know we can use. We have the passwords, information. We can head back to UA and try again. Get a proper robot. But if we do that, we'd have to take it somewhere where it can just be thrown right in. I know a place. I looked over the maps and I might have found something. But it does have me worried. She talked about a voice in her head, right? Jiro going to sit down. Her turning to Deku, and Deku would see the extent of her bandages. Her entire right side. It is fine. Her left side. That's the part that's more hurt. Her left arm, wrapped up like a mummy, along with the side of her neck and her face. She's covering her eye. And she's also got part of her hair and ear covered. He doesn't want to make the assumption, but she definitely lost an earphone jack. And he'd rather not bring that up. Deku telling her, if there's a voice in her head, it's not good. Because he won't lie. During winter, on one of their scavenger runs, he saw the Red Tower. He saw it for the first time. He was nearly brought to his knees by something. And it overwhelmed his senses. He got a nosebleed. It was the same day him and Ochako were attacked. It was in the middle of winter. He's pretty sure that tower, it's gotta be an entrance. A big one. One close enough to the center to do something. At the very least. If it's not, then he just doesn't know. All he knows is the more they go in, the more evidence he's seeing. He saw what he believes to be a part of Mount Lady's path. Maybe even a fire hero. There were burns on the side of a building. They look consistent with, he doesn't know, hand imprints? But he's concerned. The more he heads into the city, the more he can feel this thing. It's like it's constantly there, right out of his perception. It's like there's a monster behind him, but every time he turns to look at it, it turns with him too. It's always there, right out of his perception. It could just strike at any moment, but it doesn't. It allows him to build that fear, almost like it's just salting the meat. Hmm? Her staring at Deku, talking about it, salting the meat. It's a phrase. Yeah, actually that does fit. I don't like how well it does. Yeah. Listen, Izuku, I'd rather you. Could you stay with me for a minute? Hmm? You. You terrify me, but even you're scared. I don't mean to be scary. They just happen. It just happens. I never really had friends in middle school. Growing up, Bonko was my bully. No one ever had my back. At UA, things changed. I mean, I got more confident in my abilities. I actually had the power to do things. Currently, Deku bring his hands up. Injiro stares at the missing limb on Deku's left hand. A bit more aware. He's been through a lot, yet he's lost so little. I mean, he's got the scars, and he's done a lot to save people, defend them, help them. But maybe they're all gonna fucking die at some point, right? That currently going through Jiro's mind. Right now, her going to actually turn on her bed and then go to actually roll to the other side. Right now, her rolling off and going to slide open a drawer. Her bring her hand down and grabbing onto something. Currently, her turning back to Izuku and bring it up. And Deku, he has a stare at a guitar pick. As Jiro would go to express. Her father was a guitarist. He played a lot of instruments. He taught her everything. And she always carries this, a good luck charm. It's supposed to be lucky. You forgot it. No, I keep it here. I don't know. Maybe I should have been carrying it. There's just a lot going on. I know. So, um, her turn to Izuku, and going to somewhat move forwards. Deku turning his head, as Yoko to turn, bring her hands up, grabbing onto Izuku's face. And Deku, he's a lot more surprised. Her going to give him a bit of a kiss, as right now she does somewhat turn. Right now her going to sit directly onto his lap, as Deku will going to bring his hands up. Right now him grabbing Jiro, and going to somewhat push her away. Him a lot more surprised. And Deku, he just won't stare at Jiro for a minute. Jiro, shh. Just stop. Jiro, you're not thinking clearly? I'm thinking just fine. Just let me listen. They could bring his hands up, telling her, stop. I just 1 minute. Can you hold me for a minute? Deku taken aback. Her beginning to cry. And Deku, he does this good to bring his hands up. Him rubbing around Jiro's back and pulling her into a hug. And she just does start to cry, sobbing and sobbing away. And Jiro, she does still have to go through her mind. A few things. A lot of things. Mina Ashito saved her life. She saved her life. She fed her, clothed her, and bit her. She did a lot. And currently Jiro, as she does suddenly get a sob, she just stared down at Deku's shoulder. Right on her, feeling Deku's heartbeat, thumping away. And Jiro is going to open her mouth, biting right down onto Deku's shoulder. And Deku, he's a lot more alarmed. Right on him, bringing his hand up and grabbing her by her hair. Him, immediately going to actually try and rip her off of his shoulder. As the moment he does, he has to feel blood spraying from that wound. And Jiro just crash backwards into the ground. Right on Deku, bringing his hand up and grabbing his shoulder. And Jiro doesn't lay there for a second. Currently, somebody in the other room hearing a loud crash. And Deku, he does go to sit there. As somebody does come running into the room and currently seeing Zuko. Right on him, sitting there with his hand on his shoulder, trying to just cover the area. And it's spitting a lot of blood. And Deku, he does get turned to Jiro. Right on her, going to just sit back up and turn to Izuku. As her eyes, they do look a lot more wild. They look different. They look hungry. And Deku, you're going to see them go straight bloodshot. As Jiro does just stare up at him. Her turning to the other person and going to actually bring her hands up. Talking about how she can't think. She can't focus. Hers is going to collapse. Right on her, sitting there and curling up into a ball. Her mind does not feel well. Jiro doesn't even fight it whenever they try and tie her up. She just lets them. Right now she, however, is rocking back and forth. And clearly things are not going good inside of her head. And it does worry everybody. And there actually is Deku. Deku had to get the bite on his shoulder inspected. And it was not good. They had to cauterize the area. And Izuku, yeah, he would have rather preferred a better method. But until they really know what they can do, it'll have to do. It'll have to work. And Izuku, he just tried to make sense of everything. 1 second Jiro was there, coming on to him. She was scared, and she was worried about a lot. The next she tore a chunk out of his shoulder, and it fucking hurt. But seriously, what the hell is wrong with her? She was in Jiro's no, Mino was in Jiro's care. Wait, no. Shit. Okay, Zuko, just calm down. Just calm down. Jiro was in Mina's care for a few days. So she must have been infected. Shit. Wait. No, hang on a second. This concerning Izuku. And Deku, he does have a lot going through his mind. He doesn't know anything about these new variants. As far as they know, they do a lot. They don't know how things change in the city. They don't know how other variants are born. And Izuku, he thinks about it. Mina's words, come to the pit and be as pretty as me. Be as beautiful as me. Oh, for the love of God. These things are engineered at the pit. Like a mix and match horror. That's a mod shop. The pit is engineering these things. It's made them. It's made them what they are. But if Mina is engineered, then she's unlike any zombie they've seen. And Jiro was bitten by her, and Jiro's turning. Oh God. It going through Deku's mind. And Izuku, he does sit there in his room for a second. A lot more alarmed. He has. He might. He's. he's. He's going to die. He's actually going to die. And Deku, he sits there. However, it's not fear. It's not impending doom or anything else. Ironically, it's the opposite. Relief. It's going to. It's the end of the line for him. If he's right, then he could. No. Cauterizing the area doesn't do anything. It's already in his blood. If it was his arm, he could take it off. If it was his leg, he could take it off. Though, this does surprise him. Currently, Deku, there's a lot going through his mind. And right now, we do actually have somebody outside. Somebody, they were worried. They were concerned. Things have been a bit tricky. Things have been a bit hard. They weren't too sure about it. But, well, they thought about it more. They want to have a talk with Izuku. Make this a little bit more serious. Official. I mean, yes, things were good whenever they were just messing around and it's the end of the world. Blowing off some steam or just being distracted, it's nice. It's not so. It doesn't have to be so fucking chaotic all the time, but this is so bad. Currently, Deku hearing a knock on the door. And right now, this is where Setsuna does get a walk in. Because she wants to have a conversation with Izuku about something. Something she found. Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed. And have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part.